Da etosu nine won fimpi mienu ni edionu enum wo memun sam ene amahodro so sama ya boabo no emre asose ye de so mo e diamond no nsia kase so kase bo no ensema ebedimu akotimi bi ene se Ghana mampeni John Dramani Mahama wo de adesrede at Ghana fo nyina enim se ye na memun satre nyina se ye nyina ye boye homoden na ye gitum osia hunu biara ma ye ma kwan na emfa yen democracy ana say yen progress no share adakemo afi so yebetwa so ana woden sembi atodwa Ghana mampeni eden semi atodwa wochemu say ye na memo insatra ye no ade ho hia say ye nyina Ghana fo keka ye na adwembom na yetimi eboa emansatra ye eba ye na memo finance minister enso ede ne dia atodwa wochemu say ade sade mu odempa say one France atraye embra upper middle income status no ansana 2038 abedwe and sama who do be en enwe maboabo na mede baba somo e wo diamond cassia so media seda e ma diamond ground real estate diamond ground travel and tour Ben Light Enterprise and then you made diamond ground real estate say wo pass as a crojen asase amanso eni ho asase on langard for enya asem dia na se wo de weni etwemu e wo na so ye obeboa ama wonsa akebi afei diamond ground travel and tour wose akwanya beda ho obi biara opeso oti kwan ekwama no bia ne ka wakoma to ye obeboa say ye bed set passport ticket bibi biara efa wakwantu nkrata sembia no fa beda diamond ground travel and tour Bebwa ama wonsa akabi wohwehwe won cha kwan nemo obetimi afrem panyifo e wo 0552487385 0552487385 na woni won endin komo afenso no mamemfa seda bi omunso no emma Ben Light Enterprise and enyume make answer say what the headlight tail light bumpers papa abejaso enu tintem para so do bejewo de ka bi ekita obi apesa wo special car no na wo car eye ne dimudia Ben Light Enterprise waba ediamau or original kwan e waboso kan City Light Junction and also betimi afren e was 024791 Fred Light na woni no edekumo nyumakwe adarum enenenwe wo mo ebo mechi ademau sikpanya ma me dan me ho embra me ba medical seboni chumu ebetwaso Abusiafo mesama obi biara kwa babiom diamond cassia so enye afei cassia boni nchemu eni Ghana mampeni His Excellency John Dramani Mahama woden sembi atodwa wochemu seye na memo insachaye no emrana so na emrano aso dia no wode adesrede mu odempa ade koma Ghana fo nyina sese ya memo insachaye no emrana so dia na ehuhia se Ghana fo ye nyina ye gitum na ye boa na amemo na ye nyina ye pese ye mansachaye ebem ne betimi aboa amansachaye kese pa abagana ye na memo no emo.
A new era is upon us, an era of bold transformation, economic expansion, and limitless opportunities. At the heart of our vision for Ghana's future is the implementation of a 24-hour economy that works for all. This strategy will revolutionize our economic landscape. It will create sustainable jobs and position Ghana as a competitive force on the global stage, ensuring that businesses, industries, and essential services operate around the clock to maximize growth and prosperity. It is time for Ghana to also step forward and break free from the limitations of a traditional economy and embrace a future where opportunity is not confined by time. Under this initiative, this administration is committed to providing incentives and tax breaks for manufacturers and businesses that extend their operational hours, encouraging a shift-based employment system that expands job opportunities. We will strengthen key sectors such as manufacturing, retail, healthcare, logistics, and financial services to support such continuous operation. We will invest in infrastructure, energy, and security to ensure businesses and workers operate in a safe and efficient environment. We will enhance transportation systems to facilitate the movement of workers and goods at all hours of the day and night. We will implement fair labor practices that protect workers' rights while fostering productivity and economic growth. The time for transformation is now. Let us embrace our economic transformation and unlock the full potential of our beloved country. Let us work together to build a resilient, competitive, and a prosperous Ghana.
For ya to akasi about so dear na Ghana Mampeni, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, what en sembi atudwa woche mu se wono de na ban mu pa de wo ma ho kwan e ma bosian hunu a so nim faso biara wo mu enje e wo oman mu enam so e ma chese se ochra se ya je sa bosian ya hu hien a e ya de a ebre ye mpunto asiye papa e no to no de na memu ene na ban mu pa de se ye beje bosian hu hien de da bi wo ma ho kwan de biara da wo de some way at Jawabra Wakasa our National Economic Dialogue no smu Nejumedie no ase ewo in crime.
A new era is upon us, an era of bold transformation, economic expansion, and limitless opportunities. At the heart of our vision for Ghana's future is the implementation of a 24-hour economy. I know that the road to economic recovery will be challenging. But we must not relent in our quest to rebuild the Ghana we all want for the sake of our children and our children's children. We owe it to ourselves, our children, and our country to rebuild an economy that is resilient for every citizen. My priority as president is to restore macroeconomic stability. We must enforce responsible public financial management and ensure fiscal discipline at all levels of government while working to reduce hardships for our people. Under my leadership, the Bank of Ghana's independence will be safeguarded to implement prudent monetary policies that curb inflation, that stabilize our currency, and rebuilds our foreign reserves. Allow reckless borrowing and excessive government spending to undermine our progress. Fiscal responsibility must become the bedrock of our national development strategy, and every cedi spent must deliver tangible value to the Ghanaian people. We must review our laws to eliminate excessive waste in the procurement of a certain threshold to value for money audits. And just this morning, I was reviewing some of the procurement reports, and there was this procurement for poultry farmers, 10,000 units of something. And it was single source. The reason for single source was urgency. And one company was giving the contract to supply 10,000. Assemble said was not allowed to bid. And so the company that won it went to the supplier, bought everybody cutting their pound of flesh. That must stop. Beyond stabilization, we must undertake a fundamental transformation of our economic structure. Ghana's economy has been heavily reliant on the export of raw materials, such as gold, cocoa, and crude oil, leaving us vulnerable to global price fluctuations and external shocks. We must end this dependence. It is time to transition to a value-added industrialized economy that creates jobs, that boosts exports, and reduces our reliance on imports. Manufacturing and agro-processing must be expanded to ensure that we derive maximum value from our natural resources.
I was saying for me the more at was so dear one national economic dialogue Jumedian no as edin and as a tier that Jumedian so no a resetting Ghana, building the economy we want together. Na ho and Ghana Mompeni John Dramani Mahama wode nsembi etu dwa wochom so wono de we bie napono ato ho wode akwanya ato ho ama stakeholders nina se ne be ye wo mo beka won ho abom na wona boa se ne be ya Ghana ye na memu anasa nsatrea ye hia ewo ye na memu mu no ebetimi aba edi ama ye ho ena wode nsembi etu dwa wochom se wo hia anasa ye pe impunto pa ewo oman Ghana mu dia na hu hia se ye de sa akwanya yi eto ho emankunku ahodo na wode wo na adwen ebra se ne be ya wo man Ghana so ye benya ye tamapa efra.
Great honor and a deep sense of responsibility that I welcome you to this national economy. About the challenges we face and the opportunities before us. Our nation stands at a pivotal moment, and the choices we make now will determine the trajectory of our economy for generations to come. As President in Ghana, building the economy we want together. This theme reflects our shared commitment to creating an economy that is resilient, inclusive, and built on sustainable growth. It is an invitation to all stakeholders to contribute their expertise, ideas, and dedication to this national effort. Ghana is at a critical crossroads in its economic development. The challenges before us are stark, and the economic distress we face are undeniable. However, our collective resilience, ingenuity, and determination have always been the driving force of our nation's progress. We are not here merely to recount our struggles, nor are we here to resign ourselves to economic stagnation. We are here to seek solutions, to adopt strategies that will put us on a sustainable path, growth trajectory, and to ensure that we build an economy that works for every Ghanaian. For me, this is not just another policy discussion. It is an urgent call to action. A crucial moment for us as stakeholders to unite with purpose and resolve the challenges that face us. The Bank of Ghana, instead of serving as an independent monetary authority, became a financing tool for government's excesses, fueling inflation and devaluing our currency. The cost of living has skyrocketed to unbearable levels, leaving families grappling with the inability to afford even the most basic necessities. At the same time, inflation erodes the value of wages and savings, pushing many into a cycle of poverty. Meanwhile, the ill-considered collapse of indigenous banks significantly reduced indigenous presence in Ghana's financial and banking space and led to short-term decision-making that prioritizes political expediency over long-term stability. We refuse to accept this as Ghana's reality. We reject the notion that economic hardship must be our norm. We refuse to surrender to the forces of stagnation and decline. We are gathered here today because we believe in Ghana's ability to rise again.
Medemo Ebetua Kasi about the Sodiana Finance Minister Dr. Castle Atofosen and another day what do in Sambia Babetuja which you must say anyway no as a say Ghana ye boy and homodin ye papa panasa tray a person a bayana memum ye boy and homodinate me brassen ye beya a bit me up Ghana or mine in punto no akon any modern Sambi etuja what you must say and when ye papa passe a year ye middle ye upper middle income status near to me a share. Na answer na 2038 ebejuno na yetimi epejemu ye papa wodin sansem way etudwa ewo National Economic Dialogue Jumedia Koso ewo Accra International Conference Center.
The current growth model will not be sufficient to meet Ghana's needs and aspirations if nothing is done, and it will mean that we have to take an urgent steps to correct this trend. Ghana needs to take advantage of its demographic dividend. With 500,000 young people joining the labor force each year, 500,000. Within the current growth model, growth will reduce to only 3.8%, which represents 2.4% GDP per capita in less than 15 years from now. There's an urgent need to implement ambitious reforms to reset the economy in the next 4 years. Otherwise, we'll go down in terms of growth. Transforming Ghana's economic growth from one based on factor accumulation and natural resource depletion to one driven by productivity and human capital is very critical. Economic growth can be sustained over 6.5% of GDP, fully offsetting headwinds from demographic trends and the decline in natural resource depletion if we are to adjust from the current baseline situation. Your Excellency, the graph on the left-hand side shows the baseline situation from now to the year 2050 using the baseline and where the growth will be. We've adjusted for moderate reforms and we have also adjusted for ambitious reforms. The moderate reforms will largely mean that we will have to quickly bring on stream the Pecan field, and that will adjust from where we are and improve the growth trend. Whereas ambitious reforms will mean we'll have to do a lot more than adjusting from the Pecan oil fields. Without comprehensive reforms, unfortunately, Ghana will only achieve upper middle income status after the year 2050. And we cannot wait till the year 2050 before we become an upper middle income country. There's an urgent need for comprehensive policies and institutional reforms that enhance productivity, improve the quality of infrastructure, services, and elevate human capital and workforce skills. These reforms have the potential of transforming Ghana within a generation, tripling its per capita income by the year 2050. There is the need to reorient fiscal policy to support the growth and structural transformation. Mr. President, fellow citizens, we can reset our economy. We can do this. We just have to be disciplined and understand that the short-term benefit we gain today has a long-term consequences on our future. Let's do this for Mother Ghana.
Waswafwa washe yensika samso ewo oman Ghana mu Dr. Castle atoforsen eden sembi atodwa wochomu se yeden hyehyeye egu akwemu yeden sesaye eba value added tax VAT hyehyeye ekoso ewo oman mu na wochemu a eyade awei eba beboa ama Ghana yensika sam etimi egina yie papa ne krakremu ene woden sembi atodwa wochomu se sansesaye nso ebeboa ama Ghana Revenue Authority GRA won award was 200 billion Ghana cedis omo ebenya 2025 a year when revenue target no ebetimi abemo ediama won.
Ghana has not performed well in revenue mobilization compared to its peers. Ghana's domestic revenue mobilization has stagnated in the last decade and remained below our peers. Ghana collected 13.5% of GDP in revenue, tax revenue. Collection from other major taxes remain low, the one on total tax revenue, and the one we need to take action, the value-added tax. You could see the long line, the yellow line, dotted line, and the dotted red, representing where Ghana is and where our peers are. When you look at the other one, the value-added tax, where Ghana is and where our peers are, clearly shows that Ghana is lagging behind in the collection of tax revenue and, most significantly, value-added tax. This will mean we need urgent reforms to rationalize our value-added tax regime. Currently, it has been distorted, and as a result, there is very little compliance.
Domkuma awa wamra shebejemo enene de wodi kwedu emu odempa ebo Ghana ye mampeni John Dramani Mahama wochomu se 2025 State of the Nation's address and kese se wode eba wo man Ghana na wode bre wo man Ghana no wanye ne sa and kese se wo fa so na wo kire ohawa wo man Ghana na timfo e wo Ghana ye fem na mmompa de propaganda nkasa na wode bre wo man Ghana. Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam awo no eye former finance minister at the sansem way etu dwa e wo central for nhimwase enrada.
One would have appreciated a true state of the nation that acknowledged challenges in 2022, the remarkable turnaround reported by the IMF, and the challenges still remaining that will require steadfastness from the new government. And when this is backed by a clarion call by the President to Ghanaians to support him and his new government to consolidate the gains, you would have had consensus across the political divide to drive the Building Back Better agenda for Ghana. But what did we get from the President? Rather, he chose to do propaganda, and we can assure you that this propaganda will come to hit and hurt him hard. Fellow Ghanaians, the true state of the nation is that exchange rate stability, which we saw before the end of 2024, and which has continued into the first quarter of this year, is not by any magic from the Mahama government. It is because the Akufo-Addo government left significant levels of international reserves for them. The President focused on the sinking fund as if it is the only source of buffers. The sinking fund is just one of our buffers. At each point in time, the government designates some accounts for buffer and for purposes of special payments. In the last 8 years, such accounts included the sinking fund, the Eurobond proceeds account, the IMF proceeds account, and the Treasury Main 2 account. Was done on 2nd December 2024, but this was kept as buffer to Eurobond holders on 3rd January.
Dom kuma awa warma shabedwe mu ho senstem na yebusu a yedi ho komo na na wasanso de nsembe awa betodwa wo mu che mu se wo de kokobo a emu odin ye pa e de akoma Ghana aban se ma wonye wa adwen se eto a ewo ho dada no wo mu de bi beka wana se wo mbe peje mu anampo se wo de to fofo kra e bre wo man Ghana na wo hwe a sa eye eto na wo mpese wo de bra na e ade a emboa o man Ghana na temufo ye wo Ghana kra na wo kyeremu a se wo a target our modia towards 2025 on be sika mu odu be 200 billion Ghana cedis anu krebiara enimu ne dia ade wo mo aye wo adwen se mpesa mo peja etuo ni manase ye de etuo foforo eba wo man Ghana mu eno emboa ye kra no te wo mo de wo mo ma ho kwan kra ema aban no enye san hyehye no Dr. Hamid Adam a wo no ye Kane finance minister and what the sansem way etu dwa e wo nsem for nhemu ase enrada.
Believe that these unholy moves by the NDC are intended to buy time to cover for its incompetence in managing the economy and to establish the basis for increasing taxes and introducing new taxes in the 2025 budget statement, even as they are promising to scrap e-levy, COVID levy, and others. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you, does it make sense to scrap e-levy and betting tax and replace them with new taxes on the telecommunication industry? They are bringing back VAT on telecommunication. They are increasing the growth and sustainability levy on the mining industry. And they are bringing back VAT on the financial services and real estate industries. Wow. All these taxes will be passed on to customers, to the Ghanaian people. The people of Ghana should wait for the deception of the NDC government when they present the 2025 budget. Sakawa. Taxes galore. Sakawa. This is how they intend to tax Ghanaians to collect their target of 200 billion Ghana cedis in tax revenues this year. This NDC government accused us, the MPP administration, of overtaxing the people of Ghana, because by the end of 2024, the MPP administration collected 152.9 billion Ghana cedis, and that was 17% tax to GDP ratio. Take taking it from President Mohammed's 13% in 2016. Economy you call a broken economy. Ladies and gentlemen, we, the mighty minority, will join the people of Ghana to resist any attempt to smuggle in new taxes or increase existing taxes. We owe it a duty to hold the government accountable for their promises to the people of Ghana. Yes. We can only accommodate scrapping of taxes. Yes. We cannot accept
Nshe mono ase enadom kuma awo womra shebedwemu ekasa etia aye aban a ewo aban mu a wo mo kyerese sisi ade edin da won so no eye terminator 1 die ntia ne wo ne ntia wo kan sansem we nyina acha wo mo si aye contract ahodo ekitekita manfo wo mo etimi terminate contract ni nyina afenso no wo na wo mo enye adwuma anya aban efa wo mo adwuma mu no Ghana aban yon hwe na wonye bibi emfa ho.
Youth. The Mahama administration has sacked thousands of young Ghanaians who had been properly employed by the previous administration. The termination of the jobs of young Ghanaians, which has become synonymous with Mr. President Mahama, who we now prefer to call Terminator 1, is a sign of what is yet to come. Sacking people from employment and replacing them later with others does not amount to job creation. What the people of Ghana want are new jobs for those yet to be employed. President Mahama knows that the programs he outlined in his statement, Nkoko, Nkitinkiti, and the rest, cannot create sustainable jobs for the Ghanaian youth. Hence, the result to termination of existing jobs for future replacement to shore up his job numbers. This is after President Mahama had argued, sadly, in 2016, that it was legitimate for an outgoing administration to recruit and sign deals up until the midnight of January 7 the following year, when its term expires. Not only are these double standards worrying, but the dismissals will no doubt worsen the unemployment situation which he promised to fix. The thousands who have been dismissed have been condemned to suffering and hardship. The fight against Galamsey has been difficult, no doubt. The President Mills struggled with it. President Mahama struggled with it in his first term. And despite the best of efforts, President Akufo-Addo also struggled with it. After having made so much propaganda about it, while in opposition, key NDC figures appearing before Parliament's Appointments Committee could not substantiate any of the propaganda allegations of the MPP being complicit in the Galamsey phenomenon. In contrast, media networks are now reporting that weeks after the election, known NDC kingpins in the Ashanti region have invaded some forests and commenced Galamsey activities there. Also in the western region and the eastern region and western north, all over. And the president is quiet, is silent on all this. 3 district hospitals achieved practical completion, equipped and commissioned on 5th December 2024. And they are Achima Kwawuma Municipal Hospital at Trede, Kwawuma Municipal Hospital at Trede, the Oforikrom Municipal Hospital at Kokoben, and Ahanta West Municipal Hospital at Bokro. We also had dedicated sources of funding. Some have said that we're just doing it in an ad hoc manner. We had dedicated sources of funding from the government annual budgetary allocation and the CAPEX component of the annual budget funding amount from oil revenues. Total outstanding amount to complete all these district hospitals and the zonal psychiatric hospitals as at December 31st December 2024 was $1.3 billion. In his haste to misinform the Ghanaian people, the president told a group of clergymen who visited him in his office, that he needed $1.7 billion to complete the Agenda 111 projects. In his address to the nation last week, he put the amount at $22 billion. So, Mr. President, which is the correct amount? We are of the new government's plan to abandon these projects by proposing to relaunch the ABFA from oil revenues used in financing these projects to other projects. This is unacceptable, Mr. President. And this certainly will lead to significant cost overruns, which will later come to hurt our country.
For my famo and to us so dear na eye was swafo wo share ye na pomo tudwa wo chom se Agenda 111 health project dodo na aga na mampanyi dada eye Akufo-Addo na na do danko Akufo-Addo ebia no enya de wo mu etimi ewie ni nyina krakra enu nti no emre enso se wo beye mu adwuma wo se ewom se ukopiem e wo trede ofori kromani Ahantan West aye Ahantan West mensin ni mu dia wo bie eye ebia no eye 2 days ansana ye beto aba na emom ne de enya de wo mu etimi ewie krakra enu nti no wo hwe nim se wo mu betimi ewie ni nyina se ne beye wo beje mu e de ma Ghana Health Service na adwuma akoso e wo sambia bia nyina.
We need not less than $1.4 billion to be able to finish the whole project. These are the facts. Now, there were 3 of these projects that the president commissioned before the elections, around the first week in December, 5th December. And so, Trede is one of them. The Ofolukrum Municipal Hospital is also another one. And that's where we stand at the moment. The facts are that, per my inspection, as you have all seen for yourself, they are still construction sites. The outstanding payment left to be paid here alone is about $8 million here alone. And it is estimated around 16-17 million US dollars. So what it means is that it is left with about half of the money to be paid. To tell you the truth, I came with the Director General for Ghana Health Service. I'm here with the Regional Director for Ghana Health Service, Ashanti Region. And they tell me there's no action plan for recruitment or for staffing of these facilities.
I was for ya to akasi about so diara Kolebu Teaching Hospital where ya dia wo mode abeto Ghana fo nyina enim anasa wo dia rehwemu pa e dia koma Ghana fo nyina se eye enwuma a wo ye e wo maternity block no e ya dia wo mo eba bewie anasa enumenume ya wo bewie ni nyina e dia ma Ghana fo Dr. Frank Owusu Sechere a wo no eye acting chief executive officer at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital at the Sansamo etuja wabra esem chofo ekoye aprobo ewo eye ayaresabia ho.
say be durable because promises be anya. But Cheney who say sika 70 say you strengthen the year. And say they are contracts. And I think this is the third or fourth time I alcohol them just to make sure we keep them on their toes. Almost my 6 months period, but 80% of the work I'm told is completed within 2 months, which means they are going to meet the target at least, or maybe they will meet it before. So this is one of the rounds just to make them know that we are keeping a tab on it. Yeni also, and also it be a challenges be Honoma. I think the last time I called her challenges be about some slabs. And see say the torso ebe cause trouble and now say cause trouble nti the ebe hono ne atena se na ya discuss mpempi chrono ekoso okolebu na to us no ye wall no porous nti obi etime efam nti say pese ye pay attention to CDBC secure, and one of the walls is one of the things that has come up for recommendation say yensi. Now the difficulty in here is say wall no ye community no baby a wall no in nsuo fa ho nti ye see wall na a stop it in nsuo no na a flood the community no nti ubuhu anu mababebu no nti say ye niomo anya enketa ho ahu say ye no say that be win-win nti say be see the complete wall no ye be na ye allow spaces be as nsuo betimi afem. So the block we are aware since you know peseba. We want to finish that one first so that we can test the integrity and see BBSA oxygen. So yeah, one of the things in PMP when you see oxygen as some kolebu, yes, kolebu dio kwa just about the oxygen. Yet abahano mebe say the oxygen plant until 2003 na abang edonati and it's been working. Now it be one challenge. Most challenges na electrical power. Bones a monster current be a pass it through na a blow BB. But a basa na as I say either say a very resorted to buying and now say you be use cylinders. Now share oko honum say cylinders no, yeah fairly cylinders no. At the same time no as power oxygen co some departments. Now the TN say but could be a power medical block. A sizable chunk of the pipe, no, Makotono scraps. It costs about 400,000 just to get that one fixed. It's almost fixed. Until we just want to bring attention to the fact that oxygen, if we manage it properly, if we are all able to secure the fence and then stop the stealing. There won't be any reason why we can't supply enough oxygen.
Ghana Tourism Authority and I think so no Ministry of Tourism and our Mohaka Wantoma Abuano, Wamo Aya Culture and Creative Arts for me demo etwaso so dia yembora ejwadie mu nsemo na yendidwa yetwaso dia na Ghana Tourism Authority awamo esha Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts ase eyade awamo aka wontoma aboma womo apa 2025 Heritage Month no ho entoma we eye nhyehyeye eno eba beboa ama Ghana yen culture na say yen creative expression no etimi akonanim ye papa pasajumedie ekoso enrada ewalabadi Beach Hotel la etitiri ana se empanyufo dodo na ede woni monyam ekotai dwumedie no echi
March way ye Heritage Month na Heritage Month ye da ye de ato ho sebe ye be pese Ghana fo nyina ye be sai koyechi ne yakofa te se yakofa ye dedemu te se ne na ye hye deda no ye ntare ye hye aduane ye di nyuma yeto yetia ye bibia anka ye mane hu se we de Ghana ni obasima bema krachi a oye Ghana ni eno ne pese ye celebrate ye woniama bebre a programs bebre a ya hihia to honom na programs no ebi ye food and cultural fair ebi tourism across all the 16 regions. Ebiso ye festivals in Ashanti region. We also have another festival in the Western region. And see, we have a number of things going on. And GTA is collaborating with all event organizers to make sure, say, these events will be very successful. And at the end of the day, we shall indeed say we have experienced the Black Star experience.
Bosumi machi bosumi a etuesi ose ye de bebo Ghana ya mamre ene ya mane hu dero na ye ka ya mamre ene ya mane a na fa ye duane ye ntade abedintuo aware said ye nananom de ma ye fititi ebepemene botaya esi ani so ne se ye mpese enchirima erebefi mpanifo se urefi ukro mu hini aban a oyira wo badwase ye kire ne se urefi wa mamre a oyira enu nti no ye mpese ye bayira so obi ya santini obi ye nkrani ana dangbeni oye nzemani oye frafreni oye dagombani oye gonjani ana se oye anwolani a ese so hu amamre ne ye dai amamre ne ye aduane a wo mudi amamre ne ye omontade omhye amamre ne ye kasa a omoka amamre ne ye omnwom ene sede tete omo nananom tie de abedu sabre ene de ya pa ho ntoma echese de bia bibi koso uko National Theatre ye concert party ye enwumto a ye bie free se nkwada ne pon school a omonko hwe se de amamre ne tie omonko sua yasa na omonko nso a ombenya Ghana afade ne Ghana ntade ne niema ne bi ato no mahu se de ye nananom akra ya amamre e de abedu sabre and central for ni derubo for ni titiri ni radio any TV the yesra ne se bosumi machi said de bia fibia moye no mombo moden say bobebo Ghana nwom.
Now we know that quite a number of people make their way towards Ghana, especially during December, and it's a narrative that we want to change. The Black Star experience, I think, is something that we continually and consistently have to tell people about. We're looking at 12 months of an experience in Ghana. So, you know, when it's cold on the other side of the world, we want to get people here. Besides trooping here in their thousands and millions in December. So the Black Star experience is an initiative by His Excellency. It's an experience in Ghana from January through to December.
I was in for me demo ever to akase about so dia na wo man Ghana mu dia na galamse he na amfe nipa bonfo bi enam ye kweti kwan so asese yen sase bebre na dia ye ne mu ekase die na ye de hyehyeye foforo kwa egu akwemu aye no eba beboa ama yen sase asese nyina na wo mu etimi esiesie enkankan ewo yen kwaye mu ahodro ewo oman mu na eyade a wo mu apa dwumedie no ho entama ewo chebi a eno ewo epoye mantemu eyade adwumedie eba beboa ama nsase a asese ewo oman mu nyina yombe katakata ni nyina so na wo mu etimi esiesie sansase nyina na enyumeku a wo mu ehye won adwumedie ase eye World Resource Institute a wo mu eba beboa wo man Ghana se ne be ya yensase nyina na yetimi esiesie na ayefa biem.
We have come to acquire some disease, this deep-seated greed of accumulating material wealth more often with no regard to what we do to our society. I am worried about what type of country we're going to leave behind for our children. We are supposed to be the trustees of their future. We hold their future in our hands. And Ghana is not Accra. Ghana is not Accra. 35 million people. 75% of the people who are in Ghana live in rural Ghana. It says that the president holds the minerals in this country in trust for the people. I am called the landlord of
Restore Local is an initiative to accelerate this locally led restoration by empowering community groups and entrepreneurs to restore degraded land and build sustainable livelihoods. Restore Local has 4 main components. The first is to develop local capacity through training and mentorship. The second is to deploy innovative financing directly to support local restoration projects. The third is to strengthen policies to incentivize and fund restoration. And the fourth is to monitor and show the results by tracking the progress and the impact using cutting-edge monitoring tools on the ground and from the sky. Restore Local means local ownership driven by local knowledge, restored by local hands for local benefits. It means reviving agroforestry systems to nourish the soil while we produce our food, to build productive buffer zones of key water bodies and steep slopes, to encourage natural regeneration where the land can heal itself, to bring back lost forests, and to protect our coastal regions with mangrove restoration.
Initiative be briaba I say ye dream ria enye Ghana ha nko a Africa continent no so a chance ye ebro mfie bebre nanso ene dedue ye da World Resource Institute yes ye DC ho ne apa dwumedie Restore Local hontoma na akenyan ankrankra ne nyumeku a omo pese omo edan yensase a galamsey ni ade anase quite nice Seattle no nyumeku a omai crowd say omo be CSC sansase no efa nwiadua so no.
Deforestation at the current rate, if not checked, will hence the need to support all efforts aimed to reverse the trend of deforestation and forest degradation. That is why we in the Eastern region applaud the efforts of the WRI in embarking on this project. The Atiwa Forest is classified as a significant biodiversity area. The support, therefore, of all stakeholders in the conservation of this all-important state asset is very much welcome. The protection and conservation of this asset is actually a shared responsibility. And that is why the emergence and launch of this Restore Local project is thus very timely and very much welcomed, as it will complement the efforts that we, as a Forestry Commission and other civil society organizations and individuals are.
For ha and a brebe my quina yadeka sebonye nyina abeba ne wieye ansana yebekoni enshen sama edi akotene e wakase ebonu Ghana mampeni His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wode adesrede mu odempa e de ato Ghana fo nyina enim sese ye pensa traye pa e woye na memodia na sese ye nyina ye gin sachaya wode eba no atum afenso no na Ghana mampeni John Dramani Mahama wode sembi ebetu dwa woche mu se wo ma ho kwankra e ma bosen hu no bia Magana yenimpunto no embrace afenso no Ghana mampeni John Dramani Mahama nsem krona wade nsem atudwa woche mu se ye na memo ensesaye a ye pese ye de ba no eho hiase ye nyina ye ka yetibom na yetimi eboa ema ye na memo no yetimi eden satraye no eba finance minister enso ede ne die ebetudwa woche mu se ade wo mu hia enum ya no woboa ema upper middle income status no etimi pageni mu ansana 2038 ye anansama hodobi ene nanwumri meboaboa no amede ebesomo ewo Diamond Cassius wasedano mede be ma Diamond Ground Real Estate, Diamond Ground Travel and Tour, Ben Light Enterprise and Afeso Hajia Slay Empire wanyina and our bomb chitoma wode kaseboy ebesomo ene nanwumri mi amede kaseboy ebramu medin adema wosipanyo makramo